In an absolute instant, I was like, yes, these shoes, no questions asked. These are absolutely phenomenal looking shoes, and the more you dig into them, the more details you get about them, the more information that's out there, the more you want to get these guys in hand, because these are absolutely epic. I'm calling it that these ones are replacing a shoe from last year, a Blazer Mid from last year at the top of the Blazer Mid tree. Now, which Blazer Mid am I talking about? We'll find out in the video today. And also, there's a lesser detail on this shoe that's kind of being missed out on. In fact, I would say there are two that are being missed out on because of the really big features, the dominating features, the huge features on the shoe that override everything else. But then when you dig in and see these little details all over the shoe, you're like, you know what, there's a lot going on and all of it's cool. So let's have a look at that today as we take a close-up look at the upcoming release of the Nike Blazer Mid Ready-Made in 2 colorways. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. My name is Chipsunode. My name is Sneaker Design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today what we've got in the spotlight is a Blazer Mid. Now, I'm going to answer my 2 questions as fast as possible before we get into the details of the shoe. And question number 1 is what I'm not holding right here. I was saying that this shoe to me replaces another shoe, an absolute classic that's right at the top of the Blazer Mid tree from last year, and this one now has come along and taken it to the very next level. And what I'm talking about is this right here, the Sakai Blazer Mid. Iconic shoe, beautiful shoe in my collection, but I can't hold it up and show you because for some reason that yellow, is basically a yellow shoe, doesn't work out on the green screen. You'd think yellow on green would be fine, but when I hold it up, basically you look right through the shoe to what's going on behind me here, which is kind of weird because the other day I used a Huarache in one of my videos and I was holding that. It's a green suede Huarache and I was thinking, dudes, guys, this isn't going to work. You're going to look right through it, but that didn't work. You know, the green screen didn't affect that shoe. You could see it just nice, even though it was a green shoe, but then the yellow Sakai Blazers, it doesn't work for some reason. So I'm not going to be showing you those guys, but I am able to put it up on the green screen behind me here because that for me was the benchmark. That was the top of the line as far as Blazer Mids go, and then here we are with these ready-mades and they are blowing it out the water. Absolutely fire all over this shoe. I don't think there's a place in this shoe that isn't interesting, cool, hype, and very, very much something that we need to be getting our hands on. So yes, all the way from that, it's the latest and the best from the Blazer line as far as I'm concerned. We'll be getting into those details of those shoes, but I do need to answer that other question, which is all about that lesser noted features on there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the shoe and show you all the details as best as I can, but to be honest, there's a lot of them. Now, the main feature on the shoe is that swoosh on the side, and there are 2 colors that we're talking about here. I'm calling it a black shoe, and then I'm calling that one the white shoe because of the uppers on there, but the swooshes on the side on the black ones are orange, and then the swooshes on the white ones are black. But this, even that's just, it's more than just saying there's swooshes on the side of these and the colour of them. There's so much more detail going into this shoe. It's kind of hard to sort of think about where to start for all of that because it's incredible. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to start high and pull us all the way down low, and I'll tell you the bits on the shoe that I think people haven't realised is out there. And bit number 1 is I don't think people know about these tongues right here. I think a lot of people are looking at the big sort of chunky kind of large scale branding hits on the shoe, but when you look at the tongues, it's one of the coolest little features on there. Nike swoosh in red, RE for ready made in black, but a tiny detail like this elevates a shoe above when they take the time to blow that standard branding on the tongue out of the water and go with something unique like this. It matters and people care and people want to get their hands on them. So right from the start, we're going as high as we can, up at the top of the tongues, branding on there. Maybe people don't know about it. Glad to be able to bring that to you guys. And then not too far away from that is something that matches up on the 2 shoes. And there are some things that match and some things that don't. And what we're talking about here, it's right up high on the top line at the collar of the shoe, up on the ankle, you've got this winterized camo effect in black and white, and it certainly feels like snowy camo, if you know what I mean, Arctic camo. And it's the same on both shoes, and hopefully I'm showing it to you clearly on the back behind me here, and you can get that vibe for what's going on up high on the ankle element. Same on both shoes. And then if you come down from that, same on both shoes is the heel cup in white on both of them, which is kind of important because one of the shoes is all white and then a white heel cup, so there's no contrast there. The other one is black with the white heel cup, so there's a lot of contrast there. And then I'll be able to find a picture somehow. In fact, I think I remember I saw a picture that was face on with both shoes side by side, so you can see that white heel and that black heel branding with the ready-made branding on the heel. So hopefully that's something that's jumping out at you on the green screen here. I would imagine that most people already know about that, so I don't think it's a revolutionary detail. Neither is that Arctic camo up high a revolutionary detail. But you know, we'll come forward from that to another not particularly new detail, and we're talking about those swooshes. And basically there's two things to note on these swooshes. One is the colouring and the difference between the two, where, like I said before, on the black pair you've got an orange swoosh, and it's important to remember that because something happens on the laces that's kind of funky in a minute. And then on the white pair you've got a black swoosh, but it's not the colour that matters, it's the design. And I'm going with calling this a cursive swoosh. This looks like it's been written with like a fountain pen or something like that, and it's got an elongated kind of much deeper swoosh to it, and it's just very much sort of popping off the shoe in a very neat, clean design that goes with the rest of the shoe. And now going back to the heels, I think I'll probably look at the orange pair, or the orange swoosh pair, and look at the heels there, and you'll get an idea of what's going on with the materials on these guys, because it's kind of surprising, the construction of the shoe and the way they sort of cobbled it together. One thing I was thinking about before making this video was, to me it feels like what they've got here is a bunch of different things that shouldn't fit together, but they do. And I think the heel view may be a good way to look at that and get an idea of how it's all sort of different sections and different materials that have been brought together, but for some reason they managed to pull it off and bring us an absolutely epic shoe. So anyway, staying with that swoosh, we'll go round to the laces on there, because like I was saying about the laces, the detail that I want to sort of point out, and maybe this is one of those sort of, I'm not sure how many people know about this, is that the orange swoosh pair have extra lacing in the lacing system in Volt yellow, and the black swoosh pair have the same extra lacing in their lacing system in the orange that matches the orange of the swoosh on the other pair, which kind of is sort of, it's interesting to me anyway. I don't know if it's interesting to you, but the orange on one pair is repeated in the laces on the other on one swoosh, and then the black and the swoosh on that pair is not repeated in the laces on the other shoes. They've gone with that yellow Volt, which doesn't seem to have any place in the shoes other than on those laces, which is kind of odd. It's like a dead end. You've gone linked all of these shoes together, and then you get to the last domino and it just falls and doesn't connect to anything else. That yellow Volt just sort of hangs out there on its own. So an interesting little detail that maybe people know about. And then if we drop down from that, we'll get to the last two details I want to get to on the shoe. One is very obvious. Many people should know about this bubbled effect on the mid-foot and the midsole of these guys. You do usually get some kind of textured effect on blazers, Blazer Mids especially, but this time they've really overdone it. They've really gone big on that bubbled effect on the midsole on there. And again, it's one of those features that you probably think on its own you'd look at it and be like, whoa, that's a bit much, but then when you see it in sort of the rest of the shoe, you're like, you know what, that actually kind of works. So and then the final thing to do is to look on the outsole of these guys, because again, they've gone the extra mile. They've taken that extra little bit of time. Totally matches that ankle up above with that sort of Arctic camo feel. And then we go into the outsole, and you've got this sort of, I was going with pebbled effect. That's kind of what I wanted to go to with these outsoles on these guys. There's a black, white, grey kind of pebbled effect going on there. But whatever it is, you know, I don't know what its name is. I'm no designer, but what I do know is it's very, very cool, and it finishes off these shoes absolutely perfectly. And to me, these shoes don't have a single stitch wrong with them. We'll be back up somehow looking at them again, but to me they're just absolutely perfect. Some pictures, maybe the one I'm showing you right now, have a sort of green tint to them, so where it's black in some pictures, in other pictures it sort of looks like a deep green, which is a feature of those Huarache Stussy that we were talking about earlier in the week, with the rubber kind of support that wraps around the ankle, looking green in some photos and looking black in others, and same with the outsole on those guys. And then with these guys today, you know, that the black in some cases it feels green, but I'm going to sit with black. I don't think it is actually green. I think it's just an effect of the light or the photographs and stuff like that, but I might be wrong. Have to wait to get these in hand. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to do that because it's February 27th. Now this video is due to go up on Monday, which is the 15th, so that'll be 12 days before the drop, which is just where I like to be. I like to be 12 days, you know, 10 days to 14 days before the drop, to give you guys enough time. Check out the video, check out the details, and decide if this is a shoe for you and you want to get your hands on these guys. For me, Absolutely, yes. These are really amazing shoes. They're really, really beautiful shoes, and hopefully they'll be in my size. There's always a problem with Sakai blazers that I have are a half size too small for me, which is sad, so I can't really wear them. But that's the problem with being 30.5 centimeters. A lot of shoes here go on sale only up to 30 centimeters, and I miss out. So hopefully we won't miss out on these guys. Great looking shoe, great job from Ready Made and the Nike line. And that's enough for me today. It's time for me to sign off and just wrap this one up. So trying to keep ahead of the content, sort of bubbling along and semi ahead of the game. A lot of interest in the channel right now, which is pretty much driven by those Stussy Huarachi. So I appreciate, you know, people watching the content and keeping the channel going. I appreciate it very much. And because I do this every single day, I'll appreciate it again tomorrow, because, you know, doing this on a daily basis means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.